Thanks so much for joining us today, guys. Really appreciate you hopping on this space. Yeah, since the last week, there's been so much stuff that's been happening here at Pixels. It's actually pretty crazy. We released the rewritten code base last week, and that just unblocked like a crazy amount of progress from the team. So if you guys haven't checked it out yet, I would definitely recommend to check it out. We basically shipped a new engine that we're building on top of to all of you guys today. That's where a lot of the work over the last 3 months from the team has gone towards. And the reason why we did that was we wanted to set up a system that was more scalable, first and foremost, and then one that we could build on top of like quite easily. So there's two things there. We wanted to make sure that when we were launching this game, we could handle a scale of something like 100 to 200 DAU, 100K DAU. We want to have like a large scale that we can handle. And the old tech that we have, we're probably going to be limited at like 30 to 40K DAU. We just didn't want to have any tech concerns when we're ready to really, really ship this thing. So the actual tech that we're building behind is much more solid. You guys can even feel the end results of that just from how it feels. The movement's so much snappier. The game just feels better overall. And the crazy thing about that is we haven't even really put that much work into polish in this rewritten code base that you got. You guys basically just got feature parity with what we had shipped before on this new engine. But there's tons of work going into actually basically every single thing that you're looking at. Make sure every single interaction in this game engine that we're shipping out for this beta release will just feel so much smoother. We'll have all these like nice particle effects. Um, Basically all the juice that we need for this beta version. They'll really, really make this feel like a game. So you guys have just got like the first little taste of it. Um, but there's an entire engineer that's literally just going to be focused on adding juice moving forward. This engineer in particular, his first assignment is to work on a sound engine. So you're getting like a new sound engine, all of that coming up pretty soon. And yeah, it's been super exciting. So that's just a little like first taste of what we're shipping. Um, you guys, oh man, I can't even wait to like get the rest of this out. But expect a lot more. Expect way more juice in terms of polish. But yeah, you guys get to get a feel of that. The other thing that we've been working on over the last 3 months with this rewritten code base that you guys don't even get to see is a ton of tooling. So I guess high level, I can just explain to you guys how like the two thoughts of game development right now. There's like old school game development and there's new school game development. We're taking the new school approach where we put a ton of time, energy, and resources into basically building tools for our design team. This allows us to basically be hands off on most of the actual game design and the content, and we can actually like start shipping out new content. That means quests, items, new art, all of that without any development help now. If our developers were to decide to walk out and quit tomorrow, we could still ship a ton of game features. So that's like a lot of the work that we've been putting into this game engine over the last week. So super excited. We basically unblocked the entire team over the last week or so. And if you guys have seen the work that our game developers have been putting in, it's been quite insane. We shipped the rewritten code base, I think last Wednesday, maybe Thursday. Um, and the team has been working like around the clock to iron out any bugs or any like issues there might have been with that. And we're at like a pretty stable point right now too. So props to the game development team. They've been putting in a ton of work. And yeah, we're about to start moving into that next stage of development. I'm not even saying about to start moving. We're in that next stage of development. So it's super exciting. We have a ton of new stuff coming for this alpha that we're shipping internally. And it looks like we're on track for that release date that we've been shooting for. So the blockchain backed beta version of our game should be shipping mid-September to early October. That's the date that we've been saying. And yeah, we're looking pretty good on that end. So what the next steps are with this alpha, with this beta release, is that we are building out the last set. We're building out sets of features internally right now. We're adding like a bunch of content. We're adding like a bunch of new things that you can do on your farm, and a bunch of new disciplines in a way. So what you can expect for this alpha is here. Let me pull up a list of some of the things that we're working on right now and some of the things that we're shipping with an alpha. One of my game designers just sent me this the other day. We're we're basically adding like a bunch of new things that you can play your farm that open up new disciplines, that open up new resources that you can gather, and add new functionality. Things like aviary, which is beekeeping, things like mining, things like there's so many of them. Gem collecting. It's been really, really interesting seeing what they come up with. But the reason why we can do this and ship so much in the near future is because we just like unlocked so much of the game design process with this tooling. So we can actually like pretty quickly iterate, ship new, we're calling them nodes, ship new things to do on the farms, and in this alpha version before we ship them out to you guys quite quickly. So it's been super exciting. And then there's been a ton of work on like revamping our entire art style, revamping our entire UI system, all that as well too. You guys will get a taste of that soon. I'm not sure if we're fully shipping that before we ship alpha, but there's a lot coming with that. I want to leak this. Let me see if I can pin a screenshot up here. Not sure. No, looks like I can't. But yeah, no, I'll probably leak something in the Discord really quick. Here's what I'll do. I'm gonna post something in the Discord. I'm gonna delete it right away because it's pretty cool. This new UI. I don't think the artist will let me posting this, but I think these leaks are really helpful to get a feel of like what this game will look like. We're removing and like some of the work that we've been putting in. So if you check the Discord right now, I'm literally gonna delete this in like 3 minutes. That's a kind of good idea of where we're moving with the UI and the experience that we're providing. We're putting a ton of work into that. The whole idea is we want to make sure this game really feels like a world-class game. We've been putting in like a ton of polish and work around doing that. So beta release when it's coming, we want it to feel just like you would expect out of a real game. The level of polish in blockchain games we don't find super acceptable right now. So expect it to be super friendly, welcoming, and the art that they've been working on has been amazing. So I'm deleting that screenshot now. Heidi's gonna do that. No, stop doing that. So that's just like a bit about what we're working on right now. And yeah, I think I want to open this up to like a lot of questions today. What some of the things the team has been working on internally today, like me specifically, I've been working a lot on the tokenomics, getting the finalized plan around that. So I could talk about that a bit if you guys have any questions around that. Feel free to ask about our art direction. Feel free to ask about our game mechanics. I think it's like easier to leave this open-ended. So feel free to ask anything. If you want to come up here on the Twitter space, ask a question here. If you want to ask a question in Discord, I'm also in the Discord right now. Okay, so we had a question about, well, this isn't from the AMA, but somebody asked, is the Barney tutorial a new quest? Yes, we have a lot of new quest content coming. Our lead narrative designer has been designing like literally dozens of quests. So expect a lot of that to come out soon. So just to give you guys an update on how we plan on releasing different features, expect a larger release to be coming out in like this beta release. So the beta release is what this team is working towards. How game development normally works is you have a couple of versions of a game. You have an alpha and you have a beta. And alpha is really meant to be internal. It's meant for the team to kind of play test and mess around. Things are supposed to be buggy. Things are supposed to be um, basically in progress. It's like an unbalanced economy, all of that. The alpha we're working on right now, and that's the kind of thing that we're playing with every single day. The beta is what we're going to ship to you guys. So the beta should be a bit more polished. The intention is we want the public to be playing it. But then there's also this acknowledgement that it's not a complete game yet. The game will be pretty complete in a way. We'll have like this first core loop, but we're saying it's a beta because we want to ship a lot more after that too. So the game will be more single player oriented early on. There'll be a lot of quests to do. There'll be a lot of content, like things to upgrade your farm on, but it'll be lacking some of the elements we really think that will make this game like to take it to the next level. Essentially, more social oriented features, and that'll be like the next release after the beta or like the 1.0 beta essentially. So we want to get this out. We want to kind of like dip our toes in the market. We think we'll have a pretty awesome game just starting with the beta. Then we want to ship more and more features that will make the game even stickier, make the game even more fun afterwards, and taking all of your feedback into consideration. All right, I'm browsing the Discord, seeing if there's any questions. When will the onboarding process and game guides, how to start to play, be coming? This is a good question. So the idea is we want to make sure this game is easy enough to play, where you don't need an onboarding guide to play it. And it's crazy because that's actually not the standard in the Web3 space. The Web3 games I've been playing lately, I play like one or two every single day just to get a feel of the space. They're so insanely complicated to get started playing. So the idea is we want to make sure one, most of the game is explained in game. That was the intention of the first Barney quest. We're realizing we could even make the Barney quest better. But we want to make sure every single game element is kind of described to you in game through either a quest or some kind of in game tutorial like that. That includes like all of the setup and stuff too. If you don't have the MetaMask, we want to make sure it's like really easy to learn how to do a MetaMask or like add in the MetaMask, or even we want to make sure that like something as basic as like installing a MetaMask isn't stopping anybody from playing the games. We actually are like relooking our whole entire off flow over again, making sure that onboarding is just as easy as getting in the game, not even signing up for anything. We can even make you an account without you signing up. And give you the chance to sign up later. We can make it so you can log in with email. We're looking at a ton of different areas like that. But I would say onboarding is probably like it's probably like 30% of our initial focus, making it so easy to start playing. It's so easy to get into the game. What's interesting is if you come from the game industry, onboarding is probably like half of a game's focus. They like hyper optimize every single part of the onboarding flow, make sure that like percent drop offs are being looked at. A game studio like Zynga puts so much thought and care and energy into that. And then Web3, the barriers to entry are so insane where it just kind of gets glossed over a lot of the time. None of these games are being optimized in terms of that sense. So we want to kind of flip the script and make sure we're being really aware of how easy it is to start playing the game, not just playing the game, but like also like really understanding how the game works and how to actually get actively involved in the game. Will more official release notes be coming? Yes. So this release process over the last week has been a bit impromptu. That's mostly because we just didn't want to slow down the devs. We wanted to make sure that we can get all these bugs out there and polished as quickly as possible. So if you guys weren't following, we shipped a whole new version of our game engine this last week, and we QA tested it a good amount, but we also shipped it recognizing there would probably be some hiccups. You know, it's hard to fully test a game without getting like a ton of users on it. Do that due process. We made a decision to release it and then kind of get feedback from the community on it quickly and just have devs be really on top of it. This probably saved us like 2 to 3 weeks of QA and development time. So it was maybe a bit painful for like the first day or two. But if you guys were following along in the Discord and just seeing the work that some of our devs are putting in, we managed to like make the release pretty stable after just about a day or two. So we really appreciate your guys' patience that helped us move that development speed a crazy amount. Bugs were just getting wiped out by the devs who were around the clock just working on them all weekend and stuff like that. So give a shout out to the devs. They've been in the Discord. You'll see Pixel Fuchsias there a lot. Show them some love because they really turned that around. So moving forward though, we are going to have like much more strict release notes. Our releases will be much more scheduled. Now that we have this base, we know exactly what we're going to ship and when. And there shouldn't really be surprises without that. Here's some more questions. Can we go from farm to farm without any screen in between? Also, is this World 123 not really a nice game experience? Yeah, so we're working on the we're actually working on a lot of like juice around the farm switching. That's one of the cool things that we're working to get in. Um, we're working on some like really nice transitions, or that's like being delivered to us from our branding agency, and our team has been exploring how we can make that experience a lot better. So expect some nice polish around all that kind of stuff. But yeah, the idea we switched farm switching a bit. If you guys noticed, in this new rewrite, it is a lot more seamless, and we're going to make that even better. What we want to do is keep the game as immersive as possible. So we noticed a lot of our power users were like very heavy onto the URLs, using the back button and stuff like that. That's great. We're glad that you can farm quicker, and we'll probably keep some things like that in for the power users. But also, think about a user who's never played the game before, never got an experience with it. We want to make sure that their experience really feels game-like, and like hard typing in URLs and stuff like that. That's not like a very game-like experience. We're trying to move away from the expectations around DeFi gaming that they're just kind of glorified menus, and we want to make sure this is a game. Now that the awesome rewrite is out the door, what are you thinking in terms of mobile support? Yeah, thinking about this a lot. So basically, we'll probably support mobile after like a few iterations of our game design, meaning like getting the beta out, making sure that the game is fun, making sure that we can attract users given the actual game, because mobile is kind of a risk and it's a big investment. So um, essentially, we'll think about doing mobile either if we raise a Series A, or if we do a token sale for a governance token around that time when we unlock more funding. That's probably the right time to do it. What we want is more feelings of like product market fit, if that makes sense. So essentially, we want to make sure that people really really like the game that we're playing, which can be validated like quite quickly after we release. But that's when we'll start making the mobile push. It's like, okay, we did the hard work of like building a blockchain backed game. We did the hard work of figuring out what game mechanics are fitting, what's resonating with people, all of that. And then once we have that validation, it's like, okay, then it's time to expand into a larger market, the mobile market. So that's kind of the idea behind that. Will the rebrand make it easy to get to Barney's Quest or starting quests for newcomers? Yes, that's a big part of this new website as well, making it really obvious and making it really understandable about what Pixels is, how they get playing, and all of that too. That was one of the requirements we laid out. So that website, the new website, is about sounding like 2 weeks out. So I can't wait to get it out. A new branding and new logo, all of that too. Been a long time coming. It's gonna be a big difference maker. That's kind of what we're sitting on, waiting to start growing, because I just think it's gonna add a lot more credibility to the brand and the game and the image and total. So 2 weeks out, but yeah, that's part of it. Basically, making it much much easier to like get into the game from there. Can you share some examples of a social game loops that might be incorporated apart from guilds? Yeah, can definitely share some of that. So, um, we'll probably expect to run some experiments really early on around these social features, and we actually might be able to include this with the alpha or beta that we ship out. Um, So basically, there's going to be a few different. We're introducing this concept of nodes. We might come up with a much better name for you guys about what these nodes are. But essentially, they're going to be things you can place down on your farm, just like the plots of soils. But there'll also be things like sprinklers. There'll be things like beehives. There'll be things that are a bit more like in depth and nuanced. I'm trying to get a couple of these nodes to have some kind of multiplayer element to them, where it's like, okay, you actually need like 2 or 3 people using this at the same time in order to get this resource. So that's one of the first examples of just a social node that we can incorporate. We might do something similar with the quest too, where we want like people to be working together on the quest. Those are really easy things that we can get in to test these social elements right away and add some kind of socialization. The interesting thing about the game right now is that there actually are like a pretty good amount of concurrent users online. There's always a couple hundred, but they're all on their own farms. So that's an interesting thing to notice. There's normally like 1 to 2 people in each farm, and then like maybe like 10 or 12 people in Terra Villa at any given time. We want to create more reasons for people to run into each other, and we want to make that kind of a part of the game. So there's a focus on that. We understand how important social density can be to like long-term retention, and just making a game more fun. So we want to start incorporating that and kind of, I don't want to say forcing you guys to do that, but creating certain reasons to have to work together. And then in terms of like longer term social elements, there will probably be elements of sabotage or elements that kind of make you compete against other groups in terms of things like that. So that whole harmony idea that we've been talking about. When will we know who exactly are all the devs slash team, like full team? Um, there's nothing stopping that. All of our devs are completely okay with being doxxed. No one's worried about that. I guess the only reason I haven't seen the full team is because we've just been waiting for this rebranded website for so long, where I didn't want to put time and energy from the devs into changing the website and updating it until we like had this new website framework ready. So we can dox the team now if like that's something that people want. But this new website with new branding and new documentation, like partially a new white paper that's coming out really soon. So it's just less distracting for the team if we just wait till that work is done, and then we don't have to redo work. But this team is crazy. We have 3 founding members of a game studio that have exited successfully before. The engineering team is absolutely stacked. And the game design team is really, really rolling. I think if you talk to anybody internally on the team, I think the mods can see it as well. This team is really operating now. It takes time to get a game studio rolling. It takes time to get like processes down, and this team is there at this point. Um, it was crazy going from like the 3-person team that we were to as large as we are now. There were definitely some growing pains with that. But now I think I can safely say, and I think the entire team would agree, we're at this stage where this team is really, really producing and working well together now. Are we only getting more traits usability on alpha release, or will there be something before that? Yeah, so expect any new game mechanics to be not shipping until this beta. But there will be a lot coming with that. So again, like all these traits in your land will be heavily reflected in the new beta version. There's like different art for each type of land. They're gonna look really cool. I'm super excited for that. There'll be different resources that you can gather on each type of land too. Um, so expect that as well. The basically the land that you own, the farmland actually will really matter. It'll affect what kind of resources you can get. They'll only be available on certain types of land, and they'll look like visually different too. Even things like trees, there'll be like different types of trees on different types of land and things like that too. So look out for that. Super excited to like actually get that in. It looks awesome. These new tile sets, these new trees. That's already all designed on the art side. So we have some questions about combat. So combat's something we want to get into the game eventually. Um, and honestly, maybe we'll become more DAO-like after this beta release, and kind of get a feel of what the community really wants. The idea is we want to make a game that people want to play. And if people really want combat, that's something that we're not against putting into it. It's not that it's off brand, or it's not that it's not something we want to do eventually. It's just something that we're focused on. We're focused on building and shipping first and foremost, and we're focused on the economics, making sure this token is properly done right. So there's a lot of things that we need to worry about and like focus on first. And the biggest thing that kills games is scope creep. So the idea is we want to build features in the vertical slice model one by one and think about mechanics in that way too. So farming, well, it's not even farming, resource management and development is the first set of features that we're building, or the first mechanic that we're building. Um, we're going really hard into like that collector primitive. If you know anything about game design, basically this desire to like build, collect, and develop an area. And then there's other primitives. There's other like core feelings in the game that we can capture after this. But the idea is keep the scope down, ship something awesome and polished, and then move from there. Will community be QA testing features for beta pre-release to help bugs like we did for the rewrite? Yes, I do want us to kind of incorporate that early access channel that we did. So there's a few things that I actually need to get a good feel about for the token drop as well too. So we'll probably continue to use the early access channel. That's pretty helpful for us in terms of spotting bugs, but then also in terms of determining user behavior. So right now, I'm really working the token design, and I'm getting things ready for the airdrop, getting things ready for like the initial seeding of this economy. And one of the things I need to be watching out for is I tweeted about this a bit today too. Actually, if you guys look at my personal Twitter, one of the things that you need to be really, really aware of when you're designing a token and even doing an airdrop is who is that token going to? How are they going to be spending that token? And like, what are they using it for? Focusing on the demand side of the token is the really important thing. So, we're trying to get metrics on a couple of different things when it comes to this alpha and this beta. And we want to kind of determine your behavior, how you guys spend your money and how you spend your coins. We get a good idea of that in this current like pre-alpha right now, but there's other types of items and there's other types of spend I want to start analyzing, and it'll give us a better idea of how to like more effectively drop a token. The idea for this token drop, right, is that we have a token that people actually want to use and people actually care about and has day one utility. And the idea is if you don't want all of the token supply to be sold on secondary markets immediately, you need to get people a compelling reason to spend it or a compelling reason to actually use it in the game. That's kind of the idea behind it. So I need to get a good estimate of like, okay, how much do I think people will actually be spending this token in the first month? How much do I think people will be exiting it, basically like having a negative import or moving it into like a different currency? Those are all the best guesses I need to do in these models we're creating. And this is stuff we'll have looked over as well too. But this is a lot of due diligence that we have to do before this airdrop to make sure that we do it the most effectively. And it's crazy looking at how other tokens have been dropping lately. I just don't feel like this due diligence is being done on a lot of other projects. But there's a lot of depth if you want to create a token for the long term that really matters. The idea is, again, you don't want to overseed the token in an airdrop or we all lose. If we give out too much of this token where there's actually not enough ways to spend it, there's not enough things to do in our own economy with it, it's just going to get dumped and we're all going to do poorly with it. So the amount that we need to airdrop and the actual utility that this token has early on really matters. And it's going to be like a fine tuning of that. So we need to analyze user behavior for that first. When new white paper, and will this include exact tokenomics? Yes. So I can even give you guys like a high level of our tokenomics right now. Essentially, we'll have two tokens. One that is influenced by in-game variables, and we'll be seeding this token, the first token, through our in-game store at first. We'll have fixed prices in our in-game store, but we can adjust them to kind of determine how much of this token we actually release into the economy. So it'll be a lot of manual adjustment early on. We won't be really market makers in this, but the idea is to give tokens to people who farm crops, essentially. And we can tweak how much of this currency we actually introduce into the game that way. But all of the sinks, all of the faucets are controlled through gameplay. It'll be quite hard to balance completely right away. But then the second token will be more like a daily reward system. And the only thing I'm really debating with that right now is if we have a variable supply increasing each day, that's dependent on in-game activity, or if we just do like a set supply increasing each day. But the idea is we want to keep prices relatively constant, kind of have something that's either algorithmic or something that's just like predictable, in order to kind of peg prices to a certain level. So that's what the second token is. That'll be more like a premium currency in most games, where you'll be able to use it to buy special items in game that won't affect gameplay, but it'll be more around the cosmetics. Will trading be a mechanic in the beta? Yes. So the cool thing about blockchain backing items and assets, basically everything in the game will be blockchain backed or an NFT, is that we can't even stop you from trading. If it's an NFT, you'll just be able to put it out on the market or swap it like that, send it directly to somebody else's wallet. We'll help facilitate that in game as well, too, though. No fast reader, Lucas. Hey. But yeah, we've been doing a lot of math around this airdrop. It's pretty fun, and it's pretty nuanced too. Core idea here is we have a token that will be more inflationary for one of them, and the second will be like much more tightly controlled in supply, and we'll try to peg it to more of a real world value. So trading in game, yes, yeah, we'll help facilitate trading in game. That's important. There's a few different ways we've been looking at doing that. Um, I think I can be like, I think I can leak this. This is even a leak. We'll do mailboxes or some kind of drop off where you can leave items at people's farms, kind of like a whiteboard or something. And then we'll also probably just facilitate in-game trading as well. Okay, sweet. Do we have any more questions here? I'll bring on Blue's Clues now too. Feel free to ask more questions in the Discord. Feel free to request to talk here. How's it going? You there? Looks like people are asking for more leaks in the Discord. Guys, the team's gonna be mad at me. I can't get more leaks. But all I'm saying is we have a ton of stuff that's like getting built out right now. It's pretty crazy how quickly this team is moving. This rewrite, I know it looks like it took a long time, but the amount of code that we've just shipped and changed is absolutely insane. The rest of the features look tiny compared to what we just did, which is pretty wild. Um, Blue's Clues has a script for me. Check the Twitter DMs. Heidi isn't here. I promise I won't screenshot any leaks. Bummer. So Blue's Clues, guess this mic wasn't working. I'll give a little tip out though. Tip out. Okay, sweet. Well, we'll stick around for like a few more minutes. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to ask. Um, we're about to start a pretty large growth marketing effort or growth effort. The growth effort will be kind of around, it'll be around a couple different things. So we're going to be marketing this airdrop that we're going to do. We're going to do a couple of really fun different marketing tactics as well. But a lot of this is leading up to the beta and leading up to this airdrop as well. So there'll be some framing around like this airdrop is coming, make sure you're ready. And then there will also be just some like fun ways that we're going to be trying to get attention. Will there be land staking? So we really debated doing staking. Basically, how we're doing this is we're kind of looking backwards. The idea is like we want to reward people who are holding this land. That's super important for us because you guys have been here, you guys are playtesting. So there will be an airdrop oriented around people who held land for a certain amount of time. But we don't need staking to do that. We can just look at who held and airdrop to that. After we ship this beta, there isn't as much of a reason to reward staking. That's not as helpful of a behavior for the actual ecosystem. So in order to save on dev effort, we're just going to do a retroactive staking basically, where it's like, okay, we look and see how long people held and we can reward based on that. And that's a win-win for everybody. We save dev time. It incentivizes holding land right now. And it actually also incentivizes land holding from people who are in the know and people who are following this community too, which is the kind of incentive that we want. A bit more than just pressing a button, staking, and then forgetting about it. The people who are in the AMAs, people who are in the Discord and are aware that we're doing that are the ones who are going to be rewarded the most. So that's just something that we think is good behavior all around. What else? When questing, like quest building. So we have an internal quest builder that we've built out. This is one of the things that we were talking about, where it's like we built all this tooling. Our narrative designer can go and build out Quest without any of us doing anything. And that's tooling that we might eventually introduce to you guys as well. That working that in the gameplay will be interesting, but I think that's something we can figure out eventually. And I don't think it'll be that hard. We have the tooling to do it internally, which means that we can actually probably give that to you guys too at some point. It's just figuring out like the economics behind that and how we actually want to introduce that to people. That's the interesting thing. But that tech is there for people to be building out quests. Okay, sweet. Well, if there's any other questions, get them in now. Otherwise, we'll be ending pretty soon. It's super exciting. We're about to leak so much more, about to show you guys so many more features that we're building. Expect a good push starting. We've been saying like around like early to mid July is when we're going to start doing this growth marketing. That should be around the time that we get this new website, this new logo brand. And then we'll have a lot more to show around demos with the next new features. So this is a good time to be a holder. We're super excited to have you guys here with us. So much more coming really, really soon. We made it through that big hump. We made it through that hard development time. Now it's just content and new features from here on out. So thanks so much for being here, guys. Really appreciate you. And always feel free to ask any questions in the Discord. The team's around. I'm around. We're very transparent. All right. Tiff out. Web3 Guild out. Have a good day.